Shabbat Shalom. So, as I mentioned when we got into the Torah reading, I wanted to talk about the debate. I'm putting my thumb on the scale because of Pirkei Avot here. The issue of Korach. So I think during the Haftorah I handed out source sheets. If you don't have one, either share with someone next to you or raise a hand, and I'll bring you my last copy here. So here, can you pass that back? Thank you. Okay, so we're going to do this first part together. We're going to do a little bit on our own too. So, in Pirkei Avot, they tell us, the rabbis, Kol machlokot shehi l'shem shamayim, any machloket, a dispute that is l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, sofo lahatkim, right? It is destined to endure. Okay. She'll be right back. It's okay. One that is not for the sake of heaven is not destined to endure. Which dispute is for the sake of heaven? The disputes between Hillel and Shammai. Which is a dispute that's not for the sake of heaven? The dispute of Korach and all of his company. So the first question that I want to ask you, and we're going to do a quick turn to your neighbor. If you don't know your neighbor, introduce yourself. Say Shabbat Shalom. My name is Ethan. It's nice to meet you. And ask, what does it mean to say that a machloket will lahatkim, that it will endure? What does it mean that a dispute will endure? That's your first question. By the way, spoiler alert, no one has any idea what it means. So whatever you come up with could be right. So take 18 seconds, talk to the person next to you. What does it mean that a dispute will endure? Ready, set, go. Right. 9 more seconds. I told you this one was a quick one. All right. Who's got an idea of what it means that a machloket will endure? That it will lahit kayan, that it will continue to exist, whatever it means. Yes?
I think it means they both have very wise arguments, and therefore they will endure both.
Okay, so it could be that it will endure because both sides have valid points, right? So if you're having a debate of who is the greatest basketball player of all time, and you're saying, is it LeBron James or is it Michael Jordan? You could say that might endure. I'm going to translate the sports references to Philly soon. I'm still not there. Harden, whatever his name. Okay, anyways. Right, you might say, but both have valid points, right? Michael Jordan is clearly the answer, but both have valid points. That is a debate that might exist forever because you could come back to it again and again and say, yeah, well, but those guys who lost, they did have some valid points. It will endure in that way. Whereas a debate where one side has absolutely no validity, like chocolate versus vanilla, I won't tell you which one has no validity, but that's not a debate that's going to endure. What else do we have? Sage. See you. All right. I promise you won't get bounced if you answer it wrong. What else? What else might it mean that the debate is going to endure? Yeah. Okay, so it could have something to do with the way the debate is had, right? So it has to do with the substance of the debate, and now we've got, well, no, it actually might be the style of the debate, right? And Korach and his followers had no respect, and Hillel and Shammai did. We're going to look at or if you looked ahead, which is okay. That's what the rabbis say in just a second. Very, very nice. Let's take a couple more. Yeah. Ah, nice. Okay. This is great. This is perfect. So it's that there's valid arguments about the style of the debate, or Dr. White's saying it could be that the debate itself is so important that it's going to continue to happen because the subject matter of the debate will endure. Right? Anyone got a good pithy example for me on that one? That the subject matter is so important that it will continue to endure? I don't know. Something. You get the idea. Yes, please. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. So it could be that the enduring thing is actually the negative side of it, right? That that it will endure because a grudge will be held. Hi, Sage. This is like a Saturday Night Live skit we're doing here, guys. Okay. So, all right. Who's wanted the over/under that she'll be back? I'm going with. It's pretty likely that she will be back. Okay. So it could be that it actually, right, what it means to endure is that one side is so burned, right, that the conflict will endure, right? I can't think of any good examples that aren't a little bit political, but we could talk about like the burning of Savannah or something like that, right? That the way it was done at the end was so whatever, right, that debate is going to endure because the grudge will be held. We got one more. And then let's take this side of the room. Yeah, Louis, please. Okay. Perfect. It could be that the debate itself is a good thing and it should continue because it's a good debate to keep having. Right? And so each subsequent generation shows up and might say, I'm on team Hillel, I'm on team Shammai, right? But the important thing is that the debate itself continues. I love it. So now let's take a second and look at Korach. Okay? So we know what a debate that isn't going to endure is, and we don't know because there were 10 answers, but it's something like that. And then we're going to look, and so we know that Korach is not a machloket l'shem shemaim. So the question now is, what's the deal with Korach? What was his whole thing about? Why is it not a machloket l'shem shemaim? Now, Jonathan and Rita already said part of it might be the way they went about it, right? That they weren't nice in their way of debating. But anyone have other thoughts that we've gone through? Hi. The trash can is right out there and to the left. Yeah, thank you. Okay. All right. Anyone? So Korach as what the debate is about. I think we can do this one with all of us for a couple of seconds, and then we're going to do one more read to ourselves. But yeah, go ahead. Okay. So it could be that the red line that's crossed here is that you're not allowed to debate God, right? You can debate Moses all you want. You can call Moses' authority into question, et cetera, but God, that's a no. And so that was the problem, right? The problem was sort of what Korach was questioning. Okay, what else we got? Other thoughts? And if you want, I clipped for you the beginning of the Parsha, which I think sort of lays out the debate, right, of what Korach and the son of Korah and then the Levites, et cetera, and what they say to Moses. Yeah, Sandy, please. Okay, right. It's a good point. To say that the debate of Korach doesn't endure is kind of ridiculous considering we read it every year. So if it's not going to endure, it's at least still enduring, a few thousand years later. It's a good point. It's a very good point. But, the rabbis are entitled to their holy hypocrisy every once in a while, and that's okay. Rita, did you have... Ooh. Oh, it's like I planted you here, Rita. So Rita's question is, why do we get the whole line of Korach's pedigree, right? Now, I actually think this is quite important, right? So who's Korach? He's priestly, right? He, like Howard, are descendants of the Levites here, right? He's a big deal, also like Howard. He is, right? So what does that mean for, sorry. It's, if our other, what does that mean? Does that change the scope of this debate to know that Korach is, like from the Kennedy family? That's not meant to be a political thing about the Democratic primary here, okay, guys? Just, yeah, please.
Well, I think you have to get into Moshe's chastisement of him, right? Chastisement advances the idea that some of this is for personal gain, or gain of his sect, his followers. So his pedigree might be important to establish why people are following him. But at the same time, it's limited consolation in jail.
It's the what?
It's limited consolation in jail.
It's limited consolation in shale. I don't, shale. And shale, thank you, sorry, gotcha. So, yeah, right, it's showing his pedigree, and by the way, there's a whole, the Midrash thinks that Korach and his followers were they were Pharaoh's treasurers, and so they were sort of the natural power base in the Israelites because they controlled all of Pharaoh's money, and so when they left in the darkness, they stole a bunch of it, and so they're like the wealthy folk, and they're, that's like the Midrash plays them out to be sort of that. Not only are they the priestly pedigree, but they also have a lot of money. And it changes the debate because when they say, you, Moses, Rav Lechem, you take too much on yourself, if we remind ourselves who they are, this is not like the great democratic moment in the Torah where they're asking for, complete and total representative governance, and Moses is this is like the Magna Carta moment, right? This is where, the next tier of super wealthy people say to the king, hey, we'd like a little bit of power too. Oh no, not for the rest of everyone else. No. Just expand the elite circle by 6 or 7 of us, please, right? That's sort of what's happening, which maybe changes the nature of the debate. Any other thoughts on our debate here of Korach, what he's after? So it might be that it's what he's after is okay, it's the way that he does it. It might be that actually he's kind of just at it for himself here. He's not really looking out for the rest of the people. Yes, last one, yeah. Okay. Right. Yeah. So it could be, that's an interesting also, to say a machloket l'shem shamayim, for the sake of heaven, you're reading actually literally as it is a debate that is at heaven, right? That is a vertical debate, as you said, right? Those endure, the stuff about, between us and God. The horizontal debates between people, those we should probably figure out because we have to move forward together as a nation or something like that. I like that. And so that also sort of gives away what the Korach issue there was of who he's fighting with and for. Look, the other thing that we know is, oh, sorry, Roseanne, please, I can't resist. Well, the other thing we know is what happens at the end of the story. Korach and his followers, does it go well for them? No, not so much. The earth swallows them up. One of potentially the 9 miracles that God works into creation. God knew this was going to happen, so God created thousands of years before Korach a little, trap door in the earth right there, because God knew, sorry, it's like a really weird read of God, being like, wait for it. They're there, push the button, zoom, and they go. So we know that this is not a good debate because God swallows them all up. And why does God do that? I'm asking you, who knows why God does anything? Why does God swallow up the people? You have an answer? No. Oh, okay. Then. Oh, you're going to make this in Minecraft later. Cool. We'll send it out to everyone. Okay. So why does God swallow? Hold on 1 second, my love. Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's wrap this up, shall we? All right. Here's what I want to look at, because here's what I wanted to get to is then the question is, what is a good debate? Right? So a good debate with Hillel and Shammai. If you look at the bottom of the page, Rabbi Abba says, in the name of Shmuel, for 3 years there was a dispute between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, with one saying, the halacha is according to us, the other one saying, the halacha is according to us. That's great reasoning. The halacha is according to us, it's according to us. And then God shows up and says, Elu ve'elu, these and these are the words of the living God, but the halacha is according to the rulings of Beit Hillel. Since, however, both are the words of the living God, how did Beit Hillel merit to have the halacha fixed according to them? So by the way, actually quite an interesting look at what it means to have a debate here. So the dispute is l'shem shemaim, it's going to endure, but the halacha is according to whom? Hillel, right? We know this because one of these people has a national institution named after them and one of them does not. Okay? So Hillel is the guy who wins on all the time. The halacha is according to him. Why is the halacha according to Hillel according to the Talmud here? Because Hillel was kindly and modest. They studied and taught their own rulings as well as those of Beit Shammai, and they even mentioned the words of Beit Shammai before their own. So this would seem to say that the question about a debate, l'shem shemaim or not, really has to do with the way that you have the debate. Right? Apparently, the reason why Hillel and Shammai are so paragons of good debate, and the reason why Shammai wins over Hillel, is because he was kind and modest, and he taught the rulings of his counterpart before his own. Now, the lawyers are looking at me in the room and saying, yeah, but isn't that how you win arguments, right? My opponent says, da-da-da-da, and here's why he's wrong. Okay, maybe it's just good debate tactics, but it also shows that Hillel himself is helping to preserve the words of Shammai, even as he wins the debate. Right now, this isn't it. I actually don't know. I'm looking at the few people I know who are lawyers in the room. In American law, do we do this? Do you cite your opponents in? Yeah, no. Okay, I'm getting some begrudging nods. Yes, good. Okay, fine. Thanks. So this is part of what we do today, and I want to just look at one last piece, and we won't go through the whole thing. Here at Kiddush, you guys can look at the Mishnah and Yevamot and the Gemara here. But what I just want to point out is, we're going to do it. Just you'll give me a couple seconds, and it's okay. So what I want to point out is in the Mishnah, there's a debate between Shammai and Hillel about chalitza. What's chalitza? It doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but this is about laws of divorce and laws of remarriage and what happens when the spouse of this is the spouse of someone dies and then they have to marry their brother and I'm not going to use you guys as examples. It's but sorry. But the point of this is that Hillel and Shammai have a disagreement about who is permitted to marry whom, and how one is permitted to remarry or not. Why is that important? Look at the middle text on the second page. Tashma, come in here. Although Beit Shammai and Hillel are in a disagreement on the questions of rivals, sisters, and a bill of divorce, a doubtfully married woman, a woman whom her husband had divorced and who stayed with him overnight in the inn, don't worry about it. Money, valuables, none of this, the laws of marriage. Beit Shammai did not nevertheless abstain from marrying women of the families of Beit Hillel, nor did Beit Hillel refrain from marrying those of Beit Shammai. This is to teach you that they showed love and friendship towards one another, thus putting into practice the Torah, love, truth, and peace. This is wild. These two schools of thought debate all the time about everything, and in this, they debate about the laws of marriage. Okay, fine, the laws of marriage are super complicated. There's like 6 books of the Gemara all about it. Okay, fine, they're hard. But they still married their daughters to one another. This is huge. This is like saying, I disagree with your kashrut and you disagree with my kashrut, but like pass the challah, right? Like they didn't let the debate do what? They didn't let it divide the community, right? Because that was where they were headed. They were headed to a world where if you were a Beit Shammai person, you can't even date a Beit Hillel person because you can't be sure about the laws of the marriage and the divorce and they do the thing wrong and it's kosher and not kosher, right? And then you were going to end up with a schism creating 2 separate entire communities. And they didn't let that happen. And there's something really interesting and beautiful in the way that this plays out. So the machlokot that are l'shem shamayim, the ones that will endure, are ones that where the parties comport themselves with kindness and modesty and respect. They take the time to learn the opinion of the other and even share it. And whatever it is, they don't let the debate ruin the community. Right? That when they can, they even marry one another together. And so they say, oh, yeah, I still disagree. You're still wrong, Shammai, you're still wrong. But, I'll tell you you're wrong at the wedding feast of our kids. Right? Like they don't give up the debate, but they make sure that they also don't give up the community. Shabbat Shalom, friends. Thank you for engaging in this great debate. There'll be many more to come, I hope. And if you have more questions or comments, I'll see you at Kiddush.